All right, diving in, ready for another deep dive.
Always ready to go deep.
This time around, we're taking a look at excerpts you sent us from, well, a classic, Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist.
Ah, yes. Timeless.
So our mission, well, it's always the same. Cut through the noise, find those big, powerful ideas that really resonate and deliver them straight to you, our listener.
Yeah.
You're all about those aha moments, those quick insights.
Efficiency and impact.
Exactly, and we're right there with you. No need to get bogged down in endless details, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to explore this journey of Santiago, his personal calling, all those fascinating dreams, the whole thing about omens and the search for love and treasure, and of course, that huge idea that, well, everything is connected.
Interwoven.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now let's get into it and see what sparks something in your own experiences.
Sounds good to me.
What really grabs you right from the start is how Santiago chooses this shepherd life. It's not like he's just stuck with it, he actively goes for it, even with that clear path laid out for him back at the seminary. That longing for freedom to explore the world, it's a powerful statement, don't you think? It's like he's saying, my personal yearning trumps societal expectations.
Right out of the gate, he's making a choice.
Absolutely. And his father's reaction is so interesting. Instead of pushing him toward, that traditional priesthood path, he actually backs up this unconventional dream with some serious help, those 3 gold coins.
Practical support.
It sets up this tension we often feel, the coziness of what we know versus the allure of the unknown. I bet many of us wrestle with that in different ways. Santiago, though, finds a kind of peace in his simple life, his books, his wandering. But then these recurring dreams start pulling him in another direction.
It always starts with a dream.
Doesn't it, though?
It does.
So that dream he has, it takes place in a ruined church under a sycamore tree. I mean, it's full of symbolism.
Overflowing with.
The old structure and the living tree, they suggest this link between the past and the present, like something new growing from old roots.
Yeah.
It mirrors Santiago's journey, don't you think?
It's a reflection for sure.
And the dream itself, with the child guiding him to the pyramids and the hidden treasure, acts as that initial spark for his whole quest.
Sets him on the path.
So he naturally looks for someone who can decipher these dreams, a classic move, right? He finds this dream interpreter in Tarifa.
Right.
The setting itself is so vibrant. That Sacred Heart image, it's like a mix of traditional wisdom and religious symbols all rolled into one. And her interpretation, while it does acknowledge that treasure, it doesn't hand him a clear-cut solution. Instead, she steers him towards his, as she puts it, his personal legend. It's less about a literal map and more about a general direction, a calling to something deeper.
A nudge in the right direction.
It is, and you can understand why Santiago was initially let down. We often crave concrete answers, not some ambiguous advice about pursuing our legend.
Right.
His urge to dismiss dreams really reflects our human tendency to shy away from the unknown. But then, boom, Melchizedek shows up, almost like he was summoned by Santiago's, budding desire, even though Santiago's trying hard to ignore it.
The universe has a funny way of doing that, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And Melchizedek, oh man, what a character. He seems to have this insight into Santiago's deepest thoughts, his unspoken desires. And then he drops this bomb, the idea of personal legends, and this thing he calls, quote, the world's greatest lie.
The greatest lie.
The notion that we're all just puppets of fate. It's a powerful challenge to that whole idea that our lives are predetermined and we've got zero control.
Right, you're not just along for the ride.
Exactly. What's so compelling is how Melchizedek describes this so-called mysterious force that actually tries to discourage us from pursuing our personal legends.
Holding us back.
It's like an internal resistance, fueled by fear of failing or the fear of the unknown.
Fear is powerful.
And then he offers this really optimistic counter-narrative, the soul of the world, and the idea that the universe rallies to help us when we're truly committed to something.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you think about those times when things just clicked into place when you were chasing a goal with everything you had, doesn't it?
Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that quote, the one that everyone loves, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. People really connect with it because it taps into that deep human longing for meaning, for purpose.
We all want to feel like our lives matter.
Absolutely.
Like we have a purpose.
Totally. And that story about the miner and the emerald, it's a great illustration. It shows how we can be right on the verge of our biggest breakthroughs without even realizing it. It highlights the importance of pushing through, It's that final effort that often makes the difference.
Persistence. It's key.
Big time. And Melchizedek asking for a tenth of Santiago's flock, it's more than just a payment, right? It's symbolic. It forces Santiago to make a real sacrifice, to prove that he's serious about this journey. It's not just a passing fancy, it's a commitment with a price tag.
Put some skin in the game.
Literally.
Yeah.
So Santiago takes the plunge, he sells off his flock,
Uh-huh.
and almost instantly, bam, he gets hit with that betrayal in the marketplace.
Talk about a harsh reality check.
It's a brutal awakening for sure. His safety net's gone, poof, and he's left empty-handed. Makes you think how often those first steps toward any big change are met with curveballs.
Setbacks are part of the journey.
They are, and the despair and shame that Santiago feels, they're real and relatable,
Mm-hmm.
but this setback, it also forces him to change his mindset. He can't depend on the familiar anymore, right? He's got to learn to navigate this new reality.
Adaptation.
And that leads him to the crystal shop in Pangaea.
Right.
This part of the story is so cool because it's all about learning, but not in a traditional way. He's picking things up through observation, through the unspoken language, the little cues, the omens all around him. And the ideas he brings to the shop, the display case, selling tea in those crystal glasses, they stem from this heightened awareness.
He's seeing things differently.
Exactly. Now, what's interesting about the crystal merchant is how he initially resists change. He's content with his routine, even if it means staying small. But Santiago's fresh perspective, his willingness to go out on a limb, it ends up benefiting both of them. Shows how embracing new ideas can bring unexpected success.
It's a win-win.
For sure. And that difference between Santiago's burning desire and the merchant's quiet acceptance that his own dream of going to Mecca as well is just not happening, it really highlights the power of fear.
Right.
The fear of disappointment can be so crippling, it can keep us from even trying, from even taking that first step.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think about the dreams we might be letting fade because we're scared.
It's worth asking ourselves that. What dreams have we put on the back burner because of fear?
Totally. So Santiago hits a crossroads, right? He's got enough money to head back to his old life, to the comfort of being a shepherd. It'd be the easy choice. Safe. But the pull of his dream, even with all its uncertainty, it's just stronger.
It's tug of war between the head and the heart.
And what reignites his determination? Those little reminders, like those stones, Urim and Thummim, the memory of Melchizedek, and that huge realization that even with the setback, he's actually further along in his pursuit of his dream than he was when he was just, living it without even realizing it.
Yeah.
That's a key takeaway, right? Progress isn't always a straight line. Even those apparent failures can inch us closer to our goals.
Every experience is a stepping stone.
So true. His decision to join the caravan shows he's committed to moving forward, even without a clear roadmap. It's about trusting the journey itself, not just the destination.
Faith in the process.
Now, that caravan is a real mix of characters and philosophies. You've got the Englishman, who's all about intellectualizing alchemy, and Santiago, who's more hands-on. Then there's the caravan leader's wisdom about the desert, and the camel driver's philosophy of embracing the present moment with Maktub. It is written. It's like each person offers a different perspective on the world and on Santiago's quest.
A kaleidoscope of viewpoints.
I like that, a kaleidoscope. And then they reach the oasis, this haven in the middle of all this conflict. But even in this seemingly safe place, there are unspoken rules, simmering tensions.
Always beneath the surface.
And it's here that Santiago meets Fatima,
At the well.
the well. Their connection is described as instant and deep, the language of the world, a kind of understanding that goes beyond words. And Fatima's acceptance of his journey, her understanding of what it means to be a woman of the desert, is crucial.
Yeah.
It's a love that supports his personal growth, not one that holds him back.
Empowering love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't demand that he give up his dreams. And just when he feels like he's found a reason to stay put, the alchemist shows up, this almost mystical figure guided by omens. He represents this deep bond with nature and this profound understanding of Santiago's path.
He's the real deal.
He is.
Mhm.
And the alchemist really emphasizes the idea that real learning happens through experience. He's all about listening to your heart, that inner compass that's connected to the soul of the world. And this idea that the soul of the world tests those who are nearing the fulfillment of their personal legend, it implies that challenges often pop up right before breakthrough, testing our commitment.
Like a final exam before graduation.
Perfect analogy. And that encounter with the tribesman, with the alchemist demonstration, with the crystal flask and that yellow glass egg, it's a powerful display of knowledge and authority that doesn't need brute force.
Subtly powerful.
It's teaching Santiago about a different kind of power, one grounded in understanding and connection.
Yeah.
And then comes the ultimate test. turning into the wind. The escalating danger forces Santiago to tap into a level of understanding that he hasn't even reached before. His conversations with the desert, with the wind, the sun, and ultimately with, quote, the hand that wrote all, it's about him realizing he's connected to everything.
Oneness.
That moment of transformation, the singing wind, it's a powerful metaphor for the potential within us when we truly connect with something bigger than ourselves. It's about shattering those perceived limitations.
Breaking through.
The alchemist's parting gifts are important too. The gold gives him practical support for the next leg of his journey, recognizing that even spiritual quests have, a material side.
The real world.
And the parable of the Roman centurion's faith, it underlines the importance of unwavering belief, even when you can't see the outcome right away.
Keeping the faith.
So Santiago goes on, now alone, to the pyramids, guided by his heart. He reaches his destination, feels that surge of gratitude, and then, boom, an unexpected omen, that scare beetle.
The beetle.
But the treasure, it's not just sitting there waiting. He's got to dig.
Yeah.
He faces hardship. He gets robbed. It's yet another test.
It's never easy.
And in that vulnerable moment, having lost it all, he gets this crucial piece of information from the leader of those refugees, a dream about the treasure actually being back in Andalusia under the sycamore tree at that ruined church. It's a huge twist.
A complete reversal.
And it hits him.
Hmm.
The treasure wasn't in some far-off exotic location. It was back where his journey started.
Right back where he began.
The whole journey, all the challenges, the lessons, it was all necessary to bring him to that understanding. The real treasure wasn't just the gold, it was the transformation he underwent.
He was the treasure.
He was. He goes back, digs under that sycamore tree, and finally finds the gold. He remembers his promise to the old woman, sharing his wealth, showing how important it is to acknowledge those who helped him along the way. And that anticipation of going back to Fatima, well, it emphasizes that his personal legend wasn't just about getting rich, it was about love, connection, and finding that deep sense of fulfillment.
It all comes full circle.
It does. So for you, our listener,
Mm.
think about Santiago's journey. Think about what dreams you're holding on to. What steps are you taking, big or small? What signs, those little omens, are you noticing in your own life? How's the pursuit of your own goals, with all its ups and downs, maybe leading you to unexpected insights, to a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you? Maybe the treasure isn't what you first thought it would be, and the journey itself is really where the true value lies.
That's the alchemist's message.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, that's our deep dive into The Alchemist.
Until next time.
Always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Until next time, keep those dreams alive and stay curious, everyone.
Stay curious.